Faraz. Nice to meet you. I am the founder and CEO of Hatch, where we're building the first generation of Gen AI digital recruiters. So thank you so much for the introduction, Natan. I'm joined by my two co-founders, Mahi and Abigya. They are also in the Zoom meeting today. And I'll be talking a little bit about generative agents and their multi-step HR workflow integrations. So I'm going to go share my screen here real quick. All right. So I'll go through a little bit about what generative agents are, how they're useful, and then I'll do a little bit of a Hatch demo towards the very end, and I'll talk about what we're actually building here today. So yeah, generative agents, they are very useful in multi-step HR workflows, but the term generative agents is actually relatively new. It just came into light and into the main stage in around 2022 when there was this new paper that was produced by a bunch of Stanford researchers called Generative Agents and Simulacra. So that's kind of what they are, but specifically, right, there's a huge amount of overlap between the term generative agents, Gen AI, and also, of course, chatbots. So like, I want to start off by distinguishing what those are real quick. So of course, Gen AI is this overall trend, the idea that, there are models that are produced that have an increasingly large amount of size. They're autoregressive, so they probabilistically predict the next word in a sequence when popping it out. So that's the Gen AI field in general, but then from there, chatbots are the first wave of Gen AI, where we can, train a model on a large swath of text and information and output a seemingly human-like set of sentences that make a user believe that they're almost talking to someone that's real. But there are a series of fallbacks associated with chatbots, right? They're very hallucination prone in the sense that they're always getting things wrong all the time. And there are a lot of issues associated with privacy, especially when you're using public or private, models that you're just kind of contracting out to APIs. So generative agents are a little bit better. They're like the second generation, I would like to say, of Gen AI. They're a better version of chatbots because they don't just, take an input and try to, like in an autoregressive fashion, create an output. They do something more than that. They perceive, they reflect, plan, and act. And these four steps are basically like in an example. If someone as a user puts in a prompt to a generative agent, the agent can perceive this prompt and turn it into something called a memory stream, which is basically like a condensed version of that prompt. It can then reflect and plan upon prompts that it receives over time. And then based upon its previous prompts that it was asked about, it can act in more specific and specialized ways for your customers. So they are basically better versions of chatbots. They're highly more specialized. They have much lower hallucination rates, and they are more believable. So if in this paper, the Simulacra paper, one interesting study was trying to determine whether humans could figure out whether they're talking to a chatbot or a generative agent or not. Of course, the baseline here is random chance, 50-50. And this paper achieved 69%, which is only basically 19% more than random chance that they were talking to an agent. So the fact that they're able to achieve this level of believability is really useful, not just in an academia sense, but also they're really good for customers because we can then increase that level of believability, have a seamless experience when you're doing marketing, and ensure that the customer outcomes have higher satisfaction. So let's talk about generative agents in the industry real quick, specifically in e-commerce, right? Right now, when we're doing customer support in e-commerce, we have manual customer support and we have chatbots. Manual customer support, as we know, is costly. Even if you're outsourcing or you're hiring inside as well, in the country as well, this is a really costly endeavor. On top of that, there is a lot of turnover associated with the e-commerce customer support industry. And on the existing chatbots in this space are clunky. They're hallucination prone. And, if you have a chatbot that is talking about your product and they say they get some, piece of information lost wrong, that's a loss of a customer. And that's really not something that we should be able to allow. So here are some companies that are working on generative customer service agents. Yuma in specific is a up and rising one. They're YC23, I believe. And they're basically building a series of customized chatbots or more towards the generative agent sense that they're very easily customizable for your e-commerce workflows. In software development, there is a similar kind of project out here. It's not a full-fledged product yet, but it's called AutoGen. It's released by Microsoft earlier this year. I'm sure some of the Microsoft people on this call can attest to it, but existing chatbots may output incorrect and unsafe code. We've all heard of the Samsung example earlier in 2023 when, in May, there was like this massive data leak that ended up in Samsung banning all interactions with employees and OpenAI products or generative AI products in general, sorry. So these are real issues in the space that they're impeding a developer's ability to code with generative AI. So building open source agents hosted on your company's cloud with multi-agent collaboration is really important here. So By multi-agent, I am taking into account the fact that when a user inputs a prompt, it doesn't go to one agent and one agent responds with a prompt. It goes to a team of agents where maybe one agent is specializing in product management, another specializing in software engineering, and another one specializing in DevOps, let's say. Then they can deliberate over an answer, pass it back and forth between one another before actually giving the final answer to you. So what this results in is a much lower hallucination rate and a higher accuracy in general for what you're trying to achieve. So you get a team of people working for you as opposed to one person working for you whenever you ask a chatbot a question. So this is it for e-commerce and software development. One massive field where generative agents are going to have a big uptake in is in HR and recruiting. And that's kind of where Hatch comes in. So Hatch is building the first generation of Gen AI digital recruiters. And our first offering, Athena, is a full-scale recruiter who can work with you to accomplish any recruiting task you want. So she's able to go on LinkedIn, find your candidates, source your candidates. She can go and look at your existing applicant pool and recommend top talent and hires. She takes into account your kinds of skills and important experiences that you find valuable inside of candidates. And most of all, she gives you back high quality talent and saves you a lot of time. So that's the number one big thing with founders, right? We have very little time to do things that are extraneous to building our product, to building our company. So whenever there is a product that can help you save this kind of time, that's pretty useful. So let's take a look at how this actually works. And I will share my quick little demo real quick. All right. So this is Hatch. We're live. We are going to do a live demo of Athena, which is our first recruiter. And I have a job kind of up and ready for the demo today. So I want to go through the job creation process. So as a founder, if you have a bunch of existing job applications or you have, the need to find someone.
Really quick. We're seeing your slide here, not the hatchrecruiting.com.
Oh, okay. Give me a quick second.
Yeah, good.
It's better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as I was saying, there was we have our it's hatchrecruiting.com where I've created a demo account for a note today. So let's say we're hiring for like a front end, as front end software engineer, and this would kind of be where you put your job rec, or if you don't really care too much, terminal title. From there, you can put in a description, which I've just taken the liberty of grabbing from another job posting where basically you have like general responsibilities. Notice how these are all very qualitative. There's no hard skills here. There's no HTML, CSS. The point of this is just to give Hatch a qualitative idea of what your job is all about. Maybe a little bit about your company, maybe a little bit about your founders, that kind of stuff. From there, now that Hatch has an understanding of a qualitative description of your job, now we go to hard skills. So you can feel free to put these in the chat, by the way. I can add them in. But I'm going to think that HTML, CSS, maybe JavaScript are really important. I'll take a quick pause if anyone wants to add any skills live. If not, I'll keep on thinking of maybe React, let's say Angular. Anything else from the audience? Okay, seeing none. Generally speaking, what we're doing here is we're putting in skills that are that we want Athena, which is our recruiter, to take into account. Maybe we want someone with 4 years of experience and to be working in the technology industry. From there, what we can do is we can tell how important these skills are to Athena. So we're going to tell Athena here that HTML and CSS are very important. Same with JavaScript. React is also kind of important, but Angular, maybe not so much. So maybe Angular is like a 2. From there, we've created a full job card for Athena to review, to understand from the company perspective what your job looks like, which is really nice. And we can publish this. From here, you can upload your resumes, which I've already done in this job over here to save us a couple of minutes in query time. So here's what your rankings would look like after you upload all your candidates, which by the way, just takes a couple minutes. The benefit of all this is that previously, right, when you would have to go through maybe hundreds, if not, thousands of resumes by hand or by outsourcing them to an external recruitment team, that takes a lot of effort and it takes weeks, if not months, to go through all of these people properly. Instead, Athena goes through them in a matter of minutes. She gives you, an explanation as to why every candidate is in the position they are in. So they have a description of what's going on. They have a really condensed view of their resume in terms of all their experiences, who they are, where they worked at, the skills associated with people's jobs, their educations, their general skills. and other cool things like their links, like their LinkedIn's, like their personal websites, for example. We can go and check out, who these people are in a very condensed format. So from there, we can keep on finding people. Oops, that's why this is a demo, I believe. But we can keep on finding people to see what's going on about all these candidates. So it's really nice. The final part of this is Athena, where you can actually talk to all your candidate pool live. And Athena is basically like this interface where she's a generative agent as well. And you can ask her really open-ended questions. So like, for example, here's one that we had come up with earlier. We were thinking for this to be more of like a non-technical question where we're saying, hey, listen, we're looking for an entry-level engineer. They need to have they need to have experience building seamless and zippy tools. So we're going to enter that over here, and Athena is going to think about this response. So Athena is not just actually Athena, she's actually talking to a series of her colleagues as well, all of her generative colleagues, to come up with a really good answer for you to figure out exactly who in your candidate pool is the best fit for this specific description that you just gave her, not necessarily the ranks that you put in. So remember, this entire process is it brings the recruitment time from around a month to straight up minutes by talking to Athena, who understands a lot more about your candidates than just external recruiters. So give her a quick second over here while she thinks about it. But overall, yeah, that's how Hatch generally works. One other cool thing about Athena is that she doesn't just look at people's resumes. She goes to people's LinkedIn's and GitHub's and portfolios. So there's more information associated with someone's job as well than just someone's resume data. And it seems to be taking slightly longer than expected. So I'll give it maybe 10 more seconds and I'll hold off over there. Okay, seems like there's a bit of lag, so we'll skip the Athena demo for now. But generally speaking, that's how Hatch works. That's an overall view of what's going on with Hatch and how you can save a lot of time and increase the quality for your hires. And if you're interested in learning more, we can do a demo whenever you guys are available. Thank you so much.